Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Phantom. Before we jump into the price action, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below in the comments section. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff here. So we're still sitting in that zone which we were talking about previously, which we could be looking for a potential to actually push up in a fifth wave here. And it is possible still that we could still do this. And the way I'd be looking at it is that potentially would be forming a 1 and a 2 here. It is possible that this could come down a little bit lower, and we're going to discuss that. And then we'd be looking for this move actually up towards this zone of this 94.53 to the 74.90. We also need to just be aware that obviously if we start to break down too far below this 35.06, so if we lose this point here of this 41.10, it would invalidate the potential of this actually starting from here. But really we could still look at as being within this fourth wave. I'm just looking at it from this point just because of the fact that we do have some potential here within this current structure we have. However, it is also possible that this could just be an A wave, we form a B wave, and then actually look to break down for that C wave. So we could technically be within this next leg to the downside here. Given the current structure though, it's not really looking that impulsive, so I wouldn't want to call it a C wave. It is possible that we could just get sort of this is a B, and a C, and then we come back down and correct down something like this. Or alternatively, we could only just look to come back and retest this low point. So, there is a few options within here. I haven't ruled out the idea of a triangle here yet either. That is still something that is on the cards, where we could see something play out in a triangle here, where we look at this potentially as an A. The only problem is looking at this as a B. I'd rather count it as a 5-wave move, but if you wanted to argue and subdivide it in the middle here, you could say that this is an ABC, this is an ABC, then you could argue, that potentially you could even have a smaller triangle like that. So this is an A, B, C, actually forming a D wave, and then we'll get an E wave to the downside again, and then look to break to the upside. So, this is possible, but the structure isn't that great at the moment. So I'm just going to have to give it a bit of space here and see what happens. If we're looking at the potential of a triangle, it could also be that the C wave is getting more complex. So what we'd be looking out for here is something like this, where this actually becomes a C, D, and an E. So something like this. And the fact that we could also have this C wave becoming a bit more complex here, where actually it's going to form this is an A wave, this is a B wave, and then a C wave to the downside, something like this. And then still have a D and an E to play out. So, really until we actually cross this 41.10 or above this 65.55, effectively, we can still look at this potential for this triangle to play out here. It would be very early days. We'd only get confirmation after the D wave. Like I said, you can argue it's smaller here, and effectively we have something like this, where this is an A, B, C, D, and then an E. But I would like to see this push up at least to this channel, to this trend line again, to look at that option. Otherwise, it sort of becomes a bit messy. You would really expect this D wave to touch onto the channel line. The E wave can sometimes truncate, but this D wave generally tends to actually most of the time it tends to hit that channel line. So it's not really the greatest interpretation as a triangle. It can be if it continues to play out here. Then we could be looking for potentially towards this 46.12 as a zone we could come into. But until we actually do that, I am still looking for that potential to count this as a 5, where this is 1, 2, 3, 5 up into here, and then looking for this as a count to the downside. So basically what I'm talking about is this. Looking at this as a wave 1, looking for this potential of a 2, and then actually looking to push for this much bigger wave up here towards this 91.82. So this is still possible. For as long as we hold this support zone here of this 49.66 to this 44.53. It is also possible that we can also just get this play out rather as an A wave, where this becomes a B wave, where this becomes an A, we come back down for a B, and then we push up for a C, and then actually this is just an A, a B, and then we could still look to move down for that C wave at a later date. We'll have to watch this move to the downside here and see sort of how deep we come. Technically speaking, it is possible we could argue that this is actually completed into this point here, but the reaction so far to the upside has not been very convincing. It could turn into something that is a bit more convincing. At the moment, as an impulse, I don't really like the structure. You'd have to argue that potentially you have something here as a diagonal, maybe as a 1-2, and then but even this is a 3-wave structure. So yeah, I mean, it's not great at the moment. If we did start to push up here higher and started to push up towards this zone, let me just take a reading of this 59.29 effectively, then we could start to say, okay, well, maybe we're getting some extension in here where this becomes a 1 2 3 4 5, then we'd have another 1 2 here, and then we'd finally have an additional 1 and 2 within this structure. But at the moment, it just looks corrective, so I am still anticipating that we're going to be looking for another push to the downside here. I would be looking at this potentially as a B wave. So as a B wave, we could still find support again here and then push up one more time. But effectively, we wouldn't want to really cross higher than this 57.67. So that would be the 786. We can, however, do this if it's going to be a flat. If it's going to be a flat correction here, you know, you can actually technically take this wave one high. But as a normal, so if we're looking just for W and X and a Y, or an A, a B, and a C, we wouldn't really want to come too much higher than this. If we start to break that 786 and that 852, which would be, let me just pull this into here. So if we start to push up past this 5836, either this B wave is, either we're going to get a flat here, and this is potentially going to move up towards 90% of this wave one here, or alternatively, it could actually look to pass it as a B wave, and then actually we look to break back down. But at the moment, there's nothing really indicating a push that high, so I'm still looking at this potential zone here. If we do push up this 55.93 to this 57.67, if we do get a 3-wave structure up into this, it is possible we could start to break down. We have, however, reached 1-to-1, if I'm not mistaken, of this current move. We've actually come past it. We've come up to this 1,236. So it is possible this could actually look to break to the downside. The 1 hour stochastic is overbought. I think the 4 hours are right though. But you know, it does look like it wants to come down here. Whether that manages to find support above this 50-cent range and then push up one more time, that is also a possibility where we could see something like this, or come back and retest some of these lows and then actually look to push up one more time like that. If we are looking for that support range, basically that would be within this sort of 52.59 to this 51.09. The golden pocket would be right here at this 51.97 to this 51.80. And then we could look to that potential push to the upside here. If we did move down towards that 618 mark, 1-to-1 would actually take us towards the top end of the 786, and potentially looking to retest some of these highs here. So this could be something that still plays out here, and this gets a bit more complex in nature, and then we still get that C wave to the downside. So currently, off of this current structure here, you know, what we have as a target is this 46.12. So if we do actually get a break to the downside here, this would be an area I'd be looking out for, as well as sort of the higher range of this would be the 618 over here. That's quite an interesting zone of a little bit of consolidation going on over here. So yeah, I mean, there is some possibilities to come down into and retest these sort of areas here. The 50% would be the top end of all these moves here, so that also could be quite an interesting area. We'll have to obviously see how the waves play out as they do play out, and then sort of get a better understanding from that point once we got a bit more information. So this is basically still looking for that potential to push up for this 5th wave. This would look to, if we did actually push up from this point, what we'd be looking for is this 91.82 for a confirmation of a 3rd wave, but then we'd want to actually see evidence that this 4th wave forms, and then an additional 5th to the upside here. So this is what we're currently keeping an eye on here. If we do move lower down, that would move this impulsive target down as well. So typical 3rd wave target would also move down, which could actually bring it back in line with this red box that we have here at this 94.53 to the 74.90. So this is something that could still play out for as long as we actually hold this 4110 and the support zone. And basically the lowest we want to come here in a retracement is this 44.53. Once we start to break that 786, it becomes less likely we have that that push to the upside here. If we do break that, then what we would have to argue is that potentially this whole move here could just become an A. This was just a connector wave, and then we look for that C wave to the downside. So if we do fail to hold this 4110, next area I'd be sort of looking at would be this 40.59, and that would be looking at sort of coming down to this 382. The 50% though would be down here at this 35.06. So if I just throw the fib onto this high here, we can see that if we did come down towards this, so this 1-to-1 would actually bring us off the current structure to the 37.60. So that would actually be quite a nice retest of this this bit of structure here. And we can then argue that potentially this could then look for a continuation from that point to the upside. We are also needing to be careful a little bit about this move here, because like we were talking about previously, we don't have an additional fourth and fifth wave here yet. So we just need to be careful, because all we have is three-wave structure currently. If it fails to develop within this 35.06 range, basically what we'd have to be looking out for would then be the possibility that, we could see this play out as a 1-2, 1-2, and then we actually look to come back towards this 32.81 to this 22.11. However, it is also possible that if this just plays out, if we just look at this as a three-wave structure here, then we could argue that this could just be a completed correction here. It wouldn't be able to be a flat correction like we have marked out here. It would have to just be a W, an X, and a Y to the upside, and then basically looking for this to break down. It would make more sense though if we do get this additional fifth wave here, and then even if we do break down after that point. So an interesting zone here, because we've already come up into that flat rejection zone from there. So another way of measuring this move for the target of the C wave, it's actually looking towards this 618 area, which would be this 67.41. So we can see we've actually come pretty much into that zone already. So yeah, we need to just be a bit patient with this and see whether we can get this confirmation on this fourth, or whether this move here actually starts to break to the upside now, or whether we actually continue to face rejection and then look to break down from this point. So that's what I'm going to be having a look at. If we do look to break down, so this is talking about some potential bearishness here. Basically what it'd be looking at is, like I said previously, this is an A, this is a B, this potentially looking to be a C wave here. This B wave, technically speaking, could push up one more time, or we could get something else develop in here like a triangle, and this moves a bit more sideways, and this becomes an A. We get this is an A wave down, we get an A, B, C, D, and E as a triangle, and then break down. Or alternatively, like we said, this could potentially be a triangle the other way around, where we're looking at a triangle in the fourth, and then we look to push to the upside. So we need a bit more wave structure here to identify it. If we were looking for this potentially to break down as a C, we would have to argue that we have extension in here, where this becomes a 1-2, and then potentially we get we'd have to say another 1-2 in here, and then we actually look to break down. So we'd have to get a substantial move down here towards this 45.70, and then we'd be looking for those additional waves to play out as well, because we'd have to count 1-2, 1-2, and then this would be within the third. So this would be a first of the third, and then this would become the first of the third of the third's first, and then basically looking to push down much lower. If we do push down towards this 45.70, we'd have to be a bit cautious here, because it would become quite hairy as to whether this 4110 would actually hold, and then we'd have to be looking for those lower targets that we're talking about here towards this 34.20 zone. So that would be the 1-to-1 area. Yeah, so we're gonna have to give it a bit of space and see what happens. Really, until we actually break this 4110 zone though, we can still look for the bullish targets and look for the potential to actually progress to the upside in a bigger structure here. And pretty much as long as we hold this 49.66 to this 44.53, we can look for that potential to actually play to the upside here. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below in the comment section. Also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Once you're in there, just mention it. A member of staff will be happy to help you out. Also in the description, you'll find affiliate links for BYBIT and PrimeXBT, both great exchanges that we use for our own trades. Check them out if you don't have an account already. Using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you in the next one.